Whatever happens.
I will bring us on. I'm going to bring us on Facebook Live, and then I'll tell you how many suggestions we've got,
Okay,
and then just
cool.
pick one, and we kind of just go right from there.
Cool. Okay, I'm gonna stand up. And
Ooh.
like, oh, well, yeah. I realized a couple of months ago when I was like first starting online improv stuff. I was like, when I stand up, I feel like I'm actually improvising. So I started doing it. Makes
Oh,
me feel a bit more alive.
totally. The first few, more than few, I was sitting, and I'm like, "Ah, I seem to have a little low energy, and it's like, oh right, because
Yeah,
I'm sitting in a chair and I'm not as active.
literally. I was like, like when I thought about it, I was like, it makes no sense to be sitting down, like at least for me, because I was like, if you went to an improv show and everyone was sat on chairs the entire time, I think I'd walk out. I was like, just stand up, it's so much better.
I have to constantly remind myself not to sit even at live shows. I'm always like, let me put a chair up, let's sit, let's get in a
Yeah,
car, and it's like, no, I can't, I gotta stand.
yeah. You sit down, you do this, and you're like, no, no, not a restaurant. What else can this be? I'm knitting. I'm knitting.
Well, I mean, that's a
It
good
is
point. It's like,
anything.
you gotta keep active even if you're seated.
Mm,
Gotta stay active.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
let's see, we've got 70 suggestions. So pick a
Oh
number
my
1 to
gosh.
70.
Ooh, the first number that came into my head is 14, so I'll go with 14.
14. Oh, right. That's also my birth date.
No way, wait, 14th of what?
March.
Oh, okay, because my dad's is the 14th of July. I thought it was going to be like a oh my gosh moment, but it's not.
Let's see.
Never mind.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This comes from our good friend Sid. It's our suggestion is back up for a better view.
Okay, okay.
Thanks, Sid.
I love that. Yeah, so if you just sort of back up for a better view, you'll be able to see the full canvas on the wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I should I should I just stop when I like? Do you want to tell me when to stop, or can I just keep going?
Oh, well, it's this is the thing. I think the part of the non-realism element is that I paint a 50-foot canvas and then
Okay.
it's part of the viewer's interest to where they want to stand, you know. Just stop when you feel like it's brought something to you. Are you getting anything?
Yeah, I mean, I got to tell you, Michelet. Every time I take a step back, it's a new painting.
Oh, Brandon, I knew you'd love it. That's why I showed you it first before it goes on the road.
I mean, it goes. It's almost like an optical illusion.
Yes, that's what I was going for with the sort of nebula over here and the sort of planetarium over there, you know, and then the tiger in the middle just really offsets the whole thing, I think.
I mean, can I tell you what I think it looks like from this image, like from
Oh,
this angle?
please do. I'd love to hear.
Well, I mean, this to me represents just chaos of what we're in right now. And
Wow.
it's like, man v nature. And no matter where you turn, there's always more chaos. And there's a huge disruption. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Man v nature. I love it, Brandon. I think you've named the piece. You know, I was going to keep it untitled because I thought that gave me a bit of artistic integrity with the whole thing, but man v nature just it just seems so fitting.
This, Michelet, this is more than just a painting. This is a visual representation of my life. I mean, the majestic beast in the middle represents my first marriage.
Wow. I really, I wasn't quite going for that, but I love that you're pulling things out that I didn't even intend. Why would your first marriage remind you of a sort of a tiger mauling a bull?
Well, because that's what I felt like the relationship was. It was a creature meeting nature, and you know what the tiger's about, you know what the tiger is, but yet you don't think it will happen to you. You have signs about what this person is, and I had signs about what he was, and I didn't listen to the signs, and that led to the mauling, and then that led to, I mean, it could
Mauling.
not have picked a deeper crimson, which is representative of how I felt. And then the darkness. I mean, when I'm at this point right here, it's darkness over everything. And that was I felt like that was a big part of my life, was the darkness. I mean, this is incredible.
Brandon, I feel like maybe we are connected on a separate level. I feel like maybe
Maybe.
whatever you're thinking,
I don't, I think,
I
I think it's a definite. We are connected. I mean, this, you painted this, you created this, but I feel like you did it for me. It speaks right to me.
I, I think whatever you're feeling, I somehow channel and paint onto these giant canvases. And for years, I didn't understand why I was painting random splodges over here and pain and happiness. And now it all makes sense, Brandon.
I mean,
I think you're my muse.
do you, really?
I I
Really?
don't know what else to call it. I can't stop painting random images that come into my head in the depths of the night, and then this happens, and you've just made it all make sense.
It's funny you say random, and every part of inside of me is screaming, this is not random at all. It's random maybe to you, but for me, this is crystal clear. I mean, there is an order to this chaos.
Okay, well, I have a slight question. Do you know the moldy tangerine I sort of painted over there? Do you
Yeah.
have any idea what part of your life that would be coming from?
Well, of course, that's me.
You're the moldy tangerine.
Look at my hair.
Oh, it is rather moldy tangerine, Brandon, I must say.
But the way you've got it there, it's like it has just been waiting for the right amount of sunshine. It's been waiting in that corner right there. If you had put it anywhere else but that corner, but you put it there on purpose, and it's like some, maybe me, was steering your hand to put it there.
It's like
Look,
it's
there's
like you've
nothing.
it's like you're enshrouded by the madness that is the rest of the canvas, and yet there you are, Brandon, the moldy tangerine amidst the chaos.
Do you know? Can I tell you a story?
Yeah, please.
When I was 4, my parents took me to Liverpool, and we stayed at the most beautiful cabin. Right near, it was a lake of some sort. It was like maybe it was a pond. I just remember it was water. I was 3 years old, and I remember this was my first image I remember as clear as day. The first image of like when you're a child, it's like this is the first thing I can remember is going to that quaint cabin, and we were near water, and each morning I would go outside and I would look up to the sky. And I remember this, it was like a ritual, and I would come in and there would be tangerines on a bowl in the middle of the table. And the first day I was there, I didn't want anything more than a tangerine, and I reached for the tangerine. And my father slapped my head and he said, tangerines aren't for us, they're for other people, and they're extra. We can't afford those. And so the fact that you painted a tangerine that was moldy, I mean, that represents me and my childhood more specifically. I mean, I don't think I've ever told you that story. I don't think I've ever told anybody that story.
Oh, Brandon, I, I feel such an affinity with round orange fruits now. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I brought my lunchbox, and I think I may actually have a tangerine in it. If you
What?
would like, would you like a tangerine, Brandon?
Would you like one? Yes.
Yes, I, I think my work is complete. I can't get better than this.
Um, it reminds me of those artists that made things so beautiful, those sculptors, that the king would have them pluck out their own eyes because they didn't want to ever see anything that could be as beautiful as that. I feel like this is a masterpiece, and everywhere I look, when you get closer, you see it's more detailed, and when you step away, it looks like something different as well. Wow, I'm no
We've
longer.
really out we've really outdone ourselves this time, I think.
Yeah.
So how much do you think it'll go for on eBay?
You want me to do a price it now thing to get the most? Or do you
Yeah,
what
yeah, go for
it
it.
listed at?
I I don't know what's a sort of wanky art history number, like 3 million, four. That'll get a nice house.
Honestly, I think if you list this at 3.2 million and you have a buy it now price at 4 million with your name and your recognition, it won't take long to sell. If I was going to list it at a buy it now to get you the maximum price, I'd say like 4.3 million.
Mm. Yes, I rather feel that myself. I just think there's no better piece of art in the world,
No.
you know? Renaissance paintings, pop art, nothing beats this
I'll give you $7 million for this
special.
right now. I will give you $7 million if you don't put it on eBay.
Deal.
Scene! That was, oh wow, that was so great. I love that.
That was so fun.
I got the just imagining a 50-foot canvas. It's crazy.
I love it. I love the fact that it has different views no matter where you stand, and there's just a moldy orange in the corner of it.
It's like no, that represents something.
It all means something.
Well, I mean, do you ever feel that way when you go to like an art museum and you're like, or any kind of art, a play or a one person show or whatever, and you're like, this means something to somebody. I'm just not. I don't get it right now.
Yeah, yeah. I love like art galleries, and I was in one like last week. But there's one in Liverpool. It's like the Tate, but Liverpool's Tate, and it's very like modern art. And a lot of it, I'm like, wow, that's really, really cool. And like there's like the sculptures and really cool paintings. But then some of them, like, I just don't understand. Like some of them are like a blank canvas and like a red dot,
Yeah,
and they're like, and there's people around it, like, wow,
you're like
love it.
50,000 pounds for that? 50,000?
Yeah. I remember hearing a story that once, a couple of years ago, there was a guy who was like kind of like he wanted to see how far he could push like modern art kind of
Yeah.
thing. And so he went into a gallery, I think it might be in London, I can't remember where. He took off his glasses, he folded them and put them in the corner and just stood back and just waited. And within like 10 minutes, there was like 50 people like this around them going, wow, that's so deep, man. So deep. I love it.
I'm convinced human beings love standing in lines. Like they love being around. So if you go, I remember in Chicago, I went with a couple friends and it's like, let's just look at the top of a building and see if people, and then pretty soon people are just with you and they're walking by and they see you looking up and they're like, and then you've got 20 people
I love
around you
that so
just
much.
staring and it's like, I think I think they feel like they're a part of something. So they're like,
Yeah,
if I ever like opened an improv theater, which I wouldn't, but if I ever did, I would make it so people would have to line up, even if there was no reason to, because people go, "Oh, I got to get in that line someday." Like it happens all
that's
the time.
how that's how you get tickets. That's how you get it. Even if you've got three people who bought tickets, you get them to line up outside as if it's like, and then just get one of them to be like, been waiting for ages. Like the
Yes,
queue's just out the door.
yes.
Literally full house, sold out. People want to know what's happening.
Of course, they're like, I got to get into that line. There's something cool. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to stand in that line. And then they'll
Yeah.
go. And is that, like you're talking about with the putting glasses in the corner? It's like, I remember going to modern art museums and it's like, is that a, is that a bench we can sit on or is that art?
Yes. That's literally what happened in the art gallery I went to last week. And it was like it's a very like traditional art gallery with like lovely like Renaissance oil paintings and like Victorian like women with like fruit and
Yeah.
very classic art, very nice. And there was like so many like chairs, and then some of them would say on like
Oh,
the
many
little
chairs.
banner where it said like what paint was which would be like chair, but then some of them didn't, but some of them looked just as ornate, and I'm like, can I don't want to sit on the art, but is that just a chair?
Don't
It's
sit
like
on that. Even though it says chair, don't sit on the chair. It's art.
I love it so much. I never know what to do. I'm just like, I'll just stand, it's fine.
I mean, you nailed it. I think that's it. It's like I just stand. I don't assume even a thing that's like restroom, even the like the it's like I'm not going to go in there because it just might be a door that's nailed shut and it's part of some exhibit.
No, literally like signs and everything. I'm like, oh, it's nice art. It's very good. I don't know. I have no
I get
idea.
it. Lights off. It's a symbol of our society. I get it.
Mm, mm, Fire exit. Deep. Love it.
How did you get into improv? How did you get started?
Well, I've been acting for a good few years, and I've done like a lot of like classical stuff, like Shakespeare and like Marlowe and stuff. And I'd always been interested in improv since I was like 13 or 14. Like I
Yeah.
used to watch like Mamrie Hart and Grace Helbig's like old UCB shows that are like on YouTube, and I'd watch it and I'd be like, this is good. Like this is really funny. And I always sort of like had an affinity to like I want to do that. But like at the time I was 14 and two, like there weren't many places, at least in Liverpool for a few years until Liverpool Comedy Improv started, that I could like do that. And then I watched an improv show um
Mm.
like in 2015, and I was like, that's cool. But I didn't actually start until like 2017 at Liverpool Comedy Improv. And then since then I've been up in Newcastle where I go to university with our group called The Hang, and we do a monthly show, and I've performed with the Suggestibles as well at School of Improv, and I just vibe. I just really love it.
It's funny because it's so prevalent, I guess, being from the States and like, oh, you see an improv show, you're like, I'll sign up, and you just, and from Chicago, where it's like, oh, I don't know, you sign up at one of the several improv theaters, but
Yeah.
it's such a newer form for people all around the earth. But there are people like Emma Bird, who who it's like they're starting now to take improv, and it's just accelerating very quickly at these places. And people like you are going, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. And I think like the gap, there is no more talent gap anymore. I feel like whether you go to Liverpool or Mumbai or Vancouver or wherever it is, I feel like you will find brilliant performers, and they don't need that same or they hopefully one day they don't feel they need the same pedigree of where they've trained to be like justified with who they are. I think it's like
Yeah.
people are you've got it or you don't. I feel like you either have that spirit inside of you or not, and no amount of classes can really change that spirit.
Yeah, for sure. Like I last year I went to New York specifically to do like the SNL standby line because I'm like a big SNL fan. And whilst I was there, I was like, I want to do some improv. So I went to like one of the UCB jams and I took like a class at the pit and like
Huh.
it was like it felt like I was like in the not the birthplace because it wasn't Chicago, but it felt like I was like with
Yeah.
the big boys. And I was like, I walked into UCB and saw like Amy Poehler's picture on the wall, and I was like, oh my God. And I was like so nervous to like do the jam. And I was like, oh my God. And everyone was like on people were like getting on stage and like, you know, getting names drawn out of the like bucket and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, they're all so good. They're all so good. And like I like had like a like almost like an imposter syndrome moment of being like, oh my God, like what if I bomb it? I'm like on the stage at UCB, like this is just like the end if that happens, it's the end. And then I got up and it was like absolutely fine. And like I think like I kept up with like everyone else because it's just one of those where I think that like sometimes the name precedes it where you think like, oh my God, they're going to be like
Yes.
just phenomenal. And they were all really really good improvisers, but like you could like there could be someone from like you say from like anywhere else in the world who's been improvising for like years longer or has like loads more experience. And I'm just like, just do it. Like the world's weird, we're like spinning on a weird rock, like just go do the cool things.
It's so funny. Yeah, it's like just Nike this shit. Go do it. Just
Yeah.
fucking
Like
do
none
it.
of this makes sense. None of it
No.
makes sense. So just like go and make less sense, but have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Make less sense, but have fun. It's here's something that might make you feel better. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody has an imposter syndrome in improv, and I know people. I have a buddy of mine who was part of the early UCB students, basically like in the
Mm.
90s, and became like a really well he's a really well respected teacher and an author of books. His name's Will Hines, and he has imposter syndrome, and he was part of the inner sanctum of the UCB. And Chris Gethard, who was like he might have been the artistic director, they talk about it on one of they do a chat where they talk about having the imposter syndrome as being a part of it. And when I said, Will, you went like this, what was.
Yeah, I think Wilhelm is really cool. Because I was meant to be moving to China this summer for like the academic year, but obviously a pandemic happened, so I've taken a year out of uni. It was meant to be like my year abroad, but I'll be doing that next year. But whilst I was deciding on like which city I wanted to like live in, I was like trying to find out about like improv in China and like groups and like opportunities and stuff. And I remember someone told me like I was in contact with someone who then was like message Will Hines and say that
Yeah.
like you like I sent you kind of thing. So I just like DM'd Will Hines on Twitter and I was like, hello. And he was so lovely. He just replied back, like, here's all the information I know. Have fun. Good luck. And I was like, oh, so lovely.
It's he is the best. He is such a fun person to play with. He also he tells a story where we had met in Copenhagen, and we were part of a festival, and we were roommates, and we got along really well. And he's definitely UCB style, and I'm more of a like a Second City style as far as just. But I mean, we play together wonderfully. And before the first time we played together, he's like, "Hey, what do you want to do?" Like asking form. And I was like, I don't know, yes and? And he was like, oh, brother. But he is definitely like one of those guys that he's very talented. He's written books about it. He had never felt at home in the theater that was his home theater. Like you always, I think, get a sense, especially when there's like competition elements to it, where only so much stage time. I think it's going to feed into that imposter syndrome. So it's funny. You're like, I went to the jam and I was nervous, and it's like, oh yeah, once you get on stage, you realize there's nothing to be nervous about, and it's like we're all just nerds about this thing. That's all.
Yeah, like I remember I got there and there was so many like So I went by myself. Like I was in New York with friends, but they like improv and sketch and things. But they were like doing something else, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the jam. And I remember I got there and I was like by myself. I'm not 21 yet, so I was like, I can't even have like a beer in this country to like chill. So I was like, may I please have a Sprite? Like it's the best. They like took it in, and I was like, cool. And I like sat down, and then like there was like so many people came in, like, oh my god, hi, like saying hi to like all the people they knew, and I was like, oh my god, I know nobody. And then I like got on stage. I was like, oh, like it's fine because we're not us. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're not. It's just it was fine, but it was like that. Why am I still holding a can?
Because it's real to you,
Like,
and I've got mine too. And
thank you.
you're sitting there going, but it's amazing. You've got the attitude of like, oh wow, I don't know anyone, and a lot of people would be more like nervous about that. Even people, I think Will, I think he went to the jam a couple times before even getting on stage. I've met a lot of people who are like they would go to the UCB jam for like a year, never get on stage, drive back like they'd be coming from a different state, and it'd take them an hour to get there, and they're like, "This is the week I'm going to do it." Then they'd get there and they'd chicken out, and they'd go home for like a
Oh,
year.
that's the thing. I was like, I got there and I was like so nervous where I was like, I like there was a part of me that was like, I could just watch. And I was like, no, like follow your fear. What are you doing? Like you showed up, get on the stage, and it was fine. But like it was great and I had a great time. So
I mean, isn't that pretty much the philosophy for improv? Is like, just get up
yeah.
there, it'll be fine.
Literally, I was like, because I literally like, because I'm such an improv nerd, I literally have Follow Your Fear tattooed onto me. Because I was like, you're not gonna forget this. So I was like, you can't sit there with it on your person and be like, just gonna let it pass. So
Really, you've got it tattooed?
yeah, don't think you can see it. It's like there though,
Oh, I see.
with a little paper airplane. Oh my god, amazing! Oh my
Yeah.
god,
And that follow the fear is my next one.
do it.
If I can ever convince someone I can get it, if she'll let me get it, follow the fear would be my next tattoo.
You know what? Like, let's swap. I'll get yes, and you get follow your fear, and we've got matching tattoos accidentally.
Send me a photo of yours, and then I'll take
Oh
it
my
in,
god, do
and
it,
I'll be like, just do
do
this.
it.
Um,
Oh my god.
where where can people, if they want to see shows you're doing, or play with you or anything like that? What's the best way they can do that?
Yeah. So if you follow the best for improv stuff, if you follow The Hang on Facebook, Twitter, that's where we do our bi-weekly shows, and we have currently two formats up and running online. We have our improvised murder mystery called Sydney Bingham is Dead, and we also have our format The Hang, which is very like UCB style, and it's sort of taken from the idea of like conversations that you have when nothing's going on, like those weird conversations where someone just says something, then you like,
Oh
and then
yeah.
we sort of make a long form performance out of it. It's really fun. So yeah, The Hang, and also like people can follow me on Twitter if they want to, and it's at the Neve Fringe. Yeah, just a vibe. Say hi.
My God, that hang show sounds awesome. Those like
It's
conversations.
really fun. It gets very silly. Like
Yes.
last week, I think was the weirdest that ever got. Like we were like, or maybe the week before, we were like playing walls of a house, and then someone came on as a clock. Like it was just, it gets weird. It
Nope,
gets weird
nope, nope. Nothing weird about that. Wonderful. It gets wonderful.
in the best way, in the
Yeah.
best of ways.
There's nothing to me. It's like, oh man, improv is, if anything, it's not weird in that moment. So it's like, yeah, are you kidding me? Walls and shit. I'm down for a show like that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to play. I love playing inanimate objects. Like I love when someone's talking about some sort of object. I'm like, tag out, let me be this tree.
Yes, yes.
Love it. It's my fave.
I don't think I have any more. The two things I have the most fun doing on stage. One is if somebody's in a toy store and I can be a giant teddy bear on the floor that just sits like this. I love.
I've played somebody's wet trousers at some point, and then someone came, and then I was like, I did it, and then I was like, I don't know where this is going, and then someone else came on and was like, I'm gonna be this guy's wet t-shirt, and we were like,
Oh,
brilliant, amazing.
I mean, isn't
A lot.
that isn't that the epitome of yes and? Is you're like, I'm not sure where this is going to
Yeah.
go, and somebody goes, "Hey, I'll join you."
Yeah, literally, like we were singing a song about how it was like, I'm gonna stick to you like a shirt covered in water, like when Colin Firth comes out of the water, like in that one movie where he comes out of the water with a wet t-shirt on. Yeah. So then we were like, so then I was like, I'm gonna be this guy's wet trousers, like in another scene, and then it was just like yes anded to this, like the epitome of yes and. It was brilliant.
At the end of the show, you take your glass that you're still holding, you set it down on
Yeah.
stage, and you're like, walk away from improv forever.
Yeah.
You're like, no, you
Like,
can't get better than
I've done
that.
it. I've done it.
Well, what a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking time out. And whether it's live or in person, I can't wait to play with you again.
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, like I'm very excited about everything in general with improv right now. It's very exciting.
I mean, it's like a improv 2.0. There's so many more
Yeah.
possibilities now. It's great.
It's like suddenly we realized the internet exists for more than promoting shows. We were like, wait, I can improvise with this guy who's like in India and be in my bedroom? What? It's
Right?
great.
There is an attraction of never having to go out again. I'm like, "Ma, that's not bad. I could just turn on my computer and I'm ready to go."
Yeah, I've been wearing pajama pants this whole time.
Oh shit, pants.
Great.
Right, right. Pants, for sure, yes.
Pants. Great.
All right, we'll talk later. Bye.